Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the OK Grognard Show. It is Tuesday, November 3rd, 10 a.m. Central, in beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Well, it's Tuesday. That means it's a cartography and world building day. We're going to veer toward the side of world building and talk about a section we skipped over last week, I guess. We were talking about social ranks and such in towns and cities, and we jumped to the other side of government forms so that we could devote that to its own show, and, well, that's going to be today. It's just a list of forms of government. It's a little dated. Some of the nomenclature has been updated, adjusted, changed. So we'll look at some of that. There's sometimes for as much crap as it gets, and I don't know why it gets as much crap as it gets. Sometimes Wikipedia has quite a bit of good information on it. Every now and then, there's a little something that's off kilter, and you can report that stuff, and it'll get fixed eventually. But speaking of forms of organizations or governments, there's a certain bureaucracy to Wikipedia that is baked into the system in an effort to quash a lot of false information getting onto Wikipedia. Some does slip through, but that also makes it difficult for even well-meaning people to get information on there if they can't cite proper sources and format the information in the way that Wikipedia requires for it to function in the way it does. So it's very much a system that is geared toward doing stuff in a certain way. Does that mean it moves at a glacial pace when it comes to updating information? Well, maybe. Maybe indeed. So, it's good and it's bad. But I think, on balance, it's mostly good. It's meant to be neutral for the most part, right? I mean, that's its mission is the dissemination of factual information. And I don't know if that's actually there's an about section here. Let's see what it flat out says. Wikipedia is a online free content encyclopedia project helping to create a world in which everyone can freely share the sum of all knowledge. Lofty goal. Certainly having access to all knowledge. What could go wrong? I say it's a good thing. It is supported by the Wikipedia Foundation and based on a model of open editable content. The name Wikipedia is a blending of the words wiki, a technology for creating collaborative websites, from the Hawaiian word wiki, meaning quick. Well, okay. And encyclopedia. Wikipedia's articles provide links designed to guide the user to related pages with additional information. There you go. 2001. January 1st, 2001. Since its creation, January 1st. This January 15th. No, January 15th, not January 1st. January 15th, 2001. Wikipedia has grown into the world's largest reference website, attracting 1.5 billion unique visitors monthly as of March 2020. 1.5 billion. That is unique visitors. That is about 20% of the world population, if we take Wikipedia's word for the total world population. Well, I'll tell you what. If and when computers take over the world, we're certainly giving them all our info on a silver platter. This January 15th will be the 20th anniversary of Wikipedia. I've thrown some money at them a few times. I've donated a little bit here and there when I had a chance to do so and felt I could afford to do so. There's a lot more information on it there. What they do have is a pretty good page on their list of forms of government. Every one of them detailed and supported by additional facts and information. But you know what? Let's take a look at just what's in the DMG, because that's where it all starts for us as gamers, especially gamers in First Edition Dungeons and Dragons. Gary's put together a fine summary. There are a few awkward spots in here, but we'll go through it. And then we'll take a look at that wiki page and do some comparison. Some comparison shopping for forms of government. For those who haven't gone out and voted today, I say go vote. It is probably the most important thing you will ever do in your lifetime when you periodically get the chance to do it. So do it. It is... Somebody used to say, if you don't vote, you're not allowed to complain. And I don't agree with that. I say, if you pay taxes, you're allowed to complain. And voting is one of your best, strongest ways to complain. So think about it as registering any complaints you might have when you go vote. We all love to complain, don't we? Isn't that one of our favorite things, is to whine and complain? How else would the internet exist if there was... I'm complaining now about complaining. Welcome to my world. Thank you very much if you're following the channel today and here for the live show. Do yourself a favor. Chime in on the stream chat while you're here, because we do a giveaway every week, and we don't require you to do anything other than be a follower of the show and chime in on the stream chat while you're here. That's our way of just making sure we're not adding anybody to the list who happens to be a bot, which is always a risk. So hop on in to the stream chat. Just say hello. Doesn't take any more than that. And once you've been on the list at some point, you can lurk for the rest of all creation if you want. And I say creation because it's World Building Day. Let's get back to it. Forms of government. Where are we at with that? Well, Gary says, alphabetically, autocracy is at the top of government forms. Government which rests in self-derived absolute power typified by hereditary emperors, for example. Autocracy. Bureaucracy. Government by department. Rule being through the heads of various departments and conducted by their chief administrators. Now, these are listed in here as government forms, but obviously these are also systems of organizing almost any body of people, group of people. So, excuse me, a little tickle in the old throat. So understand that generally these words, names, groupings will be applied to forms of government, but they're more expansive than that. So when he says government, which rests in self-derived absolute power, autocracy's pretty limited in how its use is, but bureaucracy has a much wider use. Confederacy. Government by a league of, possibly diverse, social entities so designed as to promote the common good of each. Democracy. Government by the people, i.e., the established body of citizens. That is italicized. It's probably meant to point out that not everybody that is governed by such is necessarily a citizen, that you can have non-citizens which are under this government that may or may not have any say in how the government is run, whether through direct role or through elected representatives, a body of electors. The general populace casts a bunch of votes. They point them toward poor city dwellers. Artana says, I just voted for the first time. I had to wait in line for a while. I just voted. First time I ever had to wait in line for a while to do it. Poor city dwellers. Did you vote in Lake Geneva? How are the lines over there? How long did you have to wait? Where were you at when you did so? Dictatorship. Government whose final authority rests in the hands of one supreme head. The supreme head. That could also be a beholdership. One floating individual that has final authority in all things. Feudality. Government of a feudal nature where each successive layer of authority derives power and authority from the one above and pledges fealty likewise. So you agree to serve the one above you. You in turn gain a certain amount of power by doing so. You then get others beneath you to pledge loyalty, fealty to you. Fealty is usually not just loyalty. It is in times of need, when you're asked for advice, you are required to give it. You are required to fight for the individual to whom you swear fealty and to keep yourself in a position to be able to fight. In the Middle Ages, that often meant make sure you have your sword sharp and your armor clean and ready to go, have a number of horses available to fight. It also assumes that you will be collecting a body of individuals, men usually, underneath you as well, historically, in real world terms. Men usually is what I should say to clarify. Feudalism is about social networking. Yeah, that's definitely a political networking, probably better to say. Doesn't need to be social per se, but it does require a political allegiance. Took about an hour at City Hall. All right. Were you there right away at 7 a.m. when they opened, or did you get over there a little later? Were you there early? Were you there before? I imagine some people were lined up. Maybe 40 minutes, actually. I did not actually clock it, but I watched a 30-minute video. Oh, there you go. There you go. Clock by YouTube. I think we're going to do some campaign discussion tomorrow on timekeeping in your campaign, within the campaign. Are there clocks? Are there calendars? That sort of thing. So that'll be interesting. Maybe 40 minutes. Okay. Oaths of loyalty and subservience. It's true. That is feudalism for sure. Tribal and clan oaths and relationships. That tribal and clan tends to be more social. If we separate that out from, because it's often more familial. The definition of Confederacy here makes me wonder about how, I won't get too much into modern age, real world politics in this video, just to avoid people's triggers today. But that'd be helpful. My timekeeping campaign needs to work too. Yeah, I know. We all need that extra. Ooh, what's going on there? I have no doubt that is a political call, because I'll bet that's happening all over the place today. Good news in Lake Geneva for those of you living in the area. Get on the text thing for Next Door Pub. There is a $5 off any pizza. Dine in if you want, or carry out. So I think you got to go to the website to get the texts. But I'm pretty sure if you just call them up and tell them you got a text and it's $5 off, they'll just give you the price and that'll be the bill. They don't ask to be shown the text. Though you should probably get on there just so that you can get them in the future on your own. Jerry, Autocracy. There is a more modern word describing this form, which is, I don't see it right here, but it's gerontocracy. Does that sound right? I believe it is. Let's just say it is. We're close enough. You can look it up if you want. The gist of it is government reserved to the elderly or very old. So tribal elders, for instance, might keep control over a tribe. Usually they have to derive power from below. Sometimes it's just a matter of reverence. Gynarchy, government reserved to females only, not to be confused with matriarchy, government by the eldest females of whatever social units exist. Hierarchy, government which is typically religious, this is not true, in nature, and generally similar to a feudality. The examples he may have been thinking of might have been ancient and medieval, and therefore, yeah, hierarchy, typically religious. But the word in and of itself is not limited to that, nor is it limited to governments, obviously. Magocracy, government by professional magic users only. This, of course, is completely a fantastical term, since it is unlikely that David Copperfield and Doug Henning ever would have held political office should they have ran. Government by professional magic users only. Can you imagine a world where someone like Neil Patrick Harris just waves his hands around and gets into office because he's a magician? He might get involved in politics someday of his own accord for other reasons, but it won't be because he's a magician. Militocracy, government headed by the military leaders and the armed forces in general. Monarchy, government by a single sovereign, usually hereditary, whether an absolute ruler or with power limited in some form, such as English monarchs, limited by rule by the Magna Carta. Interesting, I was just rewatching the end of Game of Thrones. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, it's been a while. I think I'm safe to discuss a little bit about... Well, there's a conversation about forms of government. Choosing a king rather than allowing it to be hereditary. Choosing a king, say a body of the leaders of noble houses getting together and choosing who is their king. It's a sort of a funneled down version of a noble meritocracy, I guess, although other things can play out in that. Certainly bribes can be given and just need a majority, right? Oligarchy, government by a few, usually absolute rulers who are co-equal. Pedocracy, government by the learned, savants, and scholars. Plutocracy, government by the wealthy. Republic, government by representatives of an established electorate who rule in behalf of the electors. Theocracy, government by God rule, that is, ruled by the direct representatives of the God. Syndicracy. See, I don't know that this was government by a body of syndics, each representing some business interest. You know, if you had very strong guilds and they were, in effect, deciding who was in charge, particularly, say, in a city-state where all of your electorate is within a tighter group, I could see something like that being worked into a game fairly easily. This listing is by no means exhaustive. You should feel free to use other forms or invent your own as the needs of your particular campaign direct. What about a roguocracy? Maybe we need to have Mad Hermit. Hey, welcome. I think I believe that in this case, an oligarchy might cover a polyarchy. You're talking about multiple people in charge of ruling collectively. I think Poly being many as a root word. And I think that would cover it. Although, certainly no reason why you can't use that word instead. Perhaps the word oligarchy is would be found to be somewhat tainted by real world usage, or create certain expectations amongst your players, and you'd rather not use it. Polyarchy works better for you. Any number of reasons why you might decide. Whoa. Well, I don't know. It looks like the Twitch stream went down. I am recording this, and we are at 26 minutes. So I am going to do the closing and have that recorded and put it into. So we'll switch over to this. Finishing the show recording on tomorrow. Alrighty. Just explained to everybody in the stream chat. So we'll say this. Thank you for joining us today. If you're in the stream chat, we appreciate it when you do chime in. Very kind of you to do so. We are here today and every day, 10 a.m. Tomorrow we'll be dealing with campaign discussion. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday we'll be doing the shows as part of Gamehole Con. So they will be 50-minute shows rather than a half hour or less. Thursday, GMing tips. I think we'll be talking about that in regard to conventions. Building adventures on Friday. Building adventures in regard to conventions. GM reviews on Saturday. Not sure what we're going to look at in particular, but maybe we'll look at some of the conventions we've and if they're how helpful they are for GMing. Do they hone your skills? I think that's a good thing. Let's do that. Rules retrospective on Sunday. That I'm not sure exactly where we're going to go with that yet. And weekly news and reviews on Monday. Tuesday, cartography and world building, because we're back round the horn to there. If you're catching up with this on YouTube, thank you very much. Please do subscribe to the channel and give us a thumbs up on any videos you watch and enjoy. Feel free to make comments in the comment section of any YouTube video, because constructive criticism is always good for the show. Helpful. Help us make it better. We appreciate it. Your kind words are always welcome as well. All others, well, let's just say, I hate moderating, so I tend to be quick with just deleting the nastiest of comments when they happen to pop up. Usually the things you have to delete in the YouTube comments are advertising, spam bot sort of stuff, or spam bots in the guise of come check out this channel, look at me, I'm pretty, so you should come watch my channel. And it has nothing to do with gaming, neither do I, but you're a gaming channel, so your demographic might be important to me. Anyway, that sort of thing gets deleted in short order. However, comments are great, so please do leave them if you like. We appreciate it. If you're a follower or an interested gamer who has some perspective you want to share, we're happy to get it. This has been the OK Grognard Show from beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Today and every day, 10 a.m. Come back and see us again. Bye-bye.